It was a humid Austin morning, the kind where the Texas sun baked the city before 9 a.m. David Harper, 37, wove through downtown traffic, his mind on a product launch at his tech firm, Quantum Labs. 12 years married to Natalie, a dynamic startup founder, and a stable life with their daughters, Sophie, 13, and Ava, 10, kept him grounded. But at 8:42 a.m. a crippling pain would shatter his world, and a doctor's stark words would unveil a betrayal that would set David on a relentless quest for truth. David kissed Natalie goodbye at their Arizilker home, her energy crackling as she prepped for a pitch. "Crush it, babe," she said, her smile bright but fleeting, a subtle edge David missed. "You too," he replied, grabbing his laptop bag. Sophie and Ava rushed past, backpacks swinging. "Dad, don't miss my debate club tonight," Sophie called. Ava, clutching a sketchbook, hugged him. "Love you, Dad." David's heart warmed. "Love you both. Be awesome." Their smiles were his fuel for a grueling day. At Quantum Labs, David was deep in a code-base when a sharp, burning pain ripped through his abdomen. He gasped, clutching his desk, sweat beading. His coworker, Mia, noticed. "David, you okay? You're pale." He winced, trying to laugh. "Feels like I got stabbed." Mia didn't hesitate. "Urgent care, now? I'll cover your demo." David nodded, grateful, and staggered to his car, telling his assistant, "I'll be back tomorrow, maybe." The urgent care clinic off South Congress was stark, smelling of bleach. David waited, his thoughts spiraling. Bad tacos? A gym injury? Nurse Javier, brisk and efficient, took his vitals. "Doctor's coming," he said, leaving David with his unease. He texted Natalie, "At urgent care, bad pain. Home soon." No reply, typical for her, investor meetings. Dr. Patel, a calm physician with a tablet, entered. "Mr. Harper, your tests show chlamydia and STI." David's world froze. "That's impossible," he said, voice hollow. "I've only been with Natalie, my wife." Dr. Patel's eyes softened. "It's sexually transmitted. She needs testing. Complications are serious if untreated." David's ring felt like a vice. Natalie, his only partner, had done this? Driving home, David's knuckles whitened on the wheel. He called Mia. "It's an infection. Need a few days." Mia's voice was kind. "Take care, David. We've got this." He dialed his brother, Ethan, a lawyer in Houston. "Nat's cheating," David said, throat tight. "Got an STI. And I saw an email, $3 million offshore." Ethan's gas crackled. "Jesus, David. You need a lawyer in Austin. Rachel Torres, family law, she's ruthless. I'll text her number. Grab any financials." David nodded, pulling into their driveway. Natalie was out, her text pinging. "Big pitch, hon. Hope you're okay." Hugs and kisses. David's jaw clenched. He stormed to her home office, finding her laptop open. An email in her drafts from J. Read, read, $3M wired to Barbados. Barcelona next. Kid set. His heart stopped. Barcelona? He printed it, hands shaking, and dug through her files, finding a bank statement, $3,002,147 in an offshore account. Was she planning to run with Sophie and Ava? He called Ethan again. "It's worse, she's got millions, maybe taking the girls." Ethan's tone hardened. "Get to Rachel now. I'll pick up Sophie and Ava from school, keep them at my place." David grabbed tax returns and the email, his resolve stealing. At Rachel Torres's sleek downtown office, she scanned the documents, her eyes sharp. "This is dynamite, David," she said. "Adultery's one thing, but $3 million offshore? That's fraud territory. I'm hiring a PI, Liam Cole, to track Natalie's moves, her meetings, her money. You want custody of Sophie and Ava, right?" David's jaw tightened. "Full custody. They're my everything." Rachel nodded. "Courts favor mothers, so we need ironclad proof. Anything else?" "Odd behavior." David showed her a tracking app. Natalie's location blinked at a Lake Travis hotel, not her office. "She's there now, pitching." Rachel smirked. "Liam starts today. Don't confront her yet. We're building a fortress." David left, Austin's skyline blurring. Natalie's betrayal wasn't just personal, it was a plan to steal his daughters. For Sophie and Ava, he'd fight to the end. David Harper's heart thundered as he left Rachel Torres's Austin office, gripping a folder stuffed with Natalie's incriminating email and a bank statement revealing her $3 million offshore account. The Texas heat pressed against him, mirroring the fire in his chest. Natalie's betrayal, her affair, the STI, the hidden fortune cut deeper with every clue. By evening, a private investigator's evidence would confirm his fears, but a shocking find by his daughter Sophie would push David closer to the edge, forcing him to confront the lengths he'd go to protect his family. Back at their airy Zilker home, David paced the polished concrete floors, the silence heavy without Sophie, 13, and Ava, 10, who were safe with his brother Ethan in Houston. Natalie's text from earlier, "Big pitch, hon, hope you're okay?" Hugs and kisses burned in his mind, her lies now glaring. He wanted to confront her, but Rachel's warning held, "Don't tip her off. Let the PI work." He brewed coffee, the ritual steadying his shaking hands, and opened Natalie's laptop again, desperate to unravel her secrets. David scoured their joint accounts, nothing odd, as Natalie had always pushed for separate finances, claiming startup flexibility. Now it screamed deceit. He dug into her email trash, finding a deleted message from Julian Reed, her startup COO. Dated last week, it read, "Barbados account funded. Meet at Lake Travis tonight. Barcelona's a go." David's pulse spiked. Lake Travis matched the tracking app's ping. Natalie was there now, not pitching investors. He forwarded the email to Rachel, typing, "Found this. Check Julian Reed." Rachel replied instantly, "Solid find. Liam's tailing Natalie at Lake Travis. Julian's a key player at SparkVibe, likely fraud link. Hold tight." David sank onto the couch, Natalie's double life suffocating him. Was she planning to vanish with Sophie and Ava? He called Ethan, needing his calm. "It's worse, Ethan," David said, voice low. "She's got $3 million, plane tickets, maybe taking the girls." Ethan's tone sharpened. "You'll stop her, David." Rachel's top tier. "The girls are at my place, asking for you. Want to talk?" David drove to Houston, the Texas plains stretching under a dusky sky. At Ethan's cozy suburban home, Sophie and Ava tackled him with hugs. "Dad." Ava squealed, her sketchbook clutched tight. Sophie, sharp-eyed, studied him. "Something's wrong with Mom, isn't it? She's been sneaky, whispering on calls, hiding her phone. Last night, I heard her say love you to someone, not you." David's heart sank. Sophie, barely a teen, had seen the cracks. "You're amazing for telling me, Soph," he said, kneeling. "I'm handling it." He pulled out a paternity test kit Rachel had recommended. "Quick swab, girls, for the lawyer, a routine stuff." Sophie frowned. "You know we're yours, right?" David nodded. "No doubt, kiddo. Just for court." They swabbed their cheeks, their trust anchoring him. He sealed the samples, hugging them. "I'm fighting for you both. Love you." Ava smiled. "Love you, Dad." Sophie's voice was quiet. "Mom's in big trouble, huh?" David sighed. "Yeah, she is. But we're okay." Back in Austin, David's phone pinged Rachel's email with Liam's first report. Photos showed Natalie and Julian Reed cozy at a Lake Travis hotel bar, her hand on his arm. Another captured them kissing by a boat dock. An audio clip followed, Natalie's voice clear. "David's buried in code, Julian. He's got no clue. The $3 secure, Barcelona's next. The girls come with us." Julian chuckled. "You're a genius, Nat timeline?" "Weeks," she said, voice smug. "He'll never know." David's hands shook, rage and betrayal colliding. Natalie wasn't just cheating, she was plotting to steal his daughters. Liam's notes flagged wire transfers from SparkVibe to the Barbados account, labeled consulting fees for fake clients. Embezzlement? David forwarded the email to Rachel, "Freeze that account. Dig into SparkVibe." Rachel replied, "Done." Liam's on their financials. DA sniffing around, frauds likely. Stay cool. He couldn't stay cool. David rifled through Natalie's office, desperation driving him. Behind a stack of pitch decks, he found a locked USB drive in a drawer. Using Ava's birthday as the password, he opened it. A folder labeled Barcelona with flight confirmations for Natalie, Sophie, and Ava, plus a lease for a Spanish villa. His breath caught. She was ready to run. He copied the files, emailing them to Rachel, found a USB flights, a villa lease. "She's taking them." Rachel's response was swift, "This is gold. We're filing for emergency custody tomorrow. Bring the USB." David called Ethan, voice tight. "She's got flights booked, a villa. It's real." Ethan's voice trembled. "God, David, I'm sorry. The girls can stay here as long as needed." David exhaled. "Thanks, Ethan. Tell them I'll call tonight." Hanging up, he stared at Natalie's latest text. "Still at Lake Travis, babe. Deal's close. Home late. Love ya." His fingers hovered. "Okay," he typed, skipping, "love you." The truth was closing in. He drove to a South Congress diner, needing space. Over coffee, he called Natalie's sister, Claire, a quiet artist in San Antonio. "Claire, has Nat seemed off?" Claire paused. "She's been secretive, always with Julian, talking about big moves. I thought it was business." "What's up?" David exhaled. "She's cheating, hiding $3 million, planning to leave with the girls." Claire gasped. "No way. If you split, she can stay with me short term, but I'm with you, David. He nodded. Thanks. Keep it quiet. Back home, David sat in the dark, the USB's contents spread on his laptop. Natalie's voice, David's got no clue, cut like a blade. His phone buzzed, Sophie texting, Dad, I found Mom's old phone in my room. It's got texts to Julian about Barcelona. Is she leaving us? David's heart broke. Sophie was carrying this too. I'm stopping her, Soph, he texted. You're safe. Love you. Her reply was a heart emoji. David leaned back, resolve hardening. Natalie's lies were unraveling, but a flicker of dread lingered. What if Julian was more than a lover? What if he was dangerous? The fight for his girls was just beginning. David Harper sat in his darkened Zilker home, the private investigator's photos and audio searing his mind. Natalie's affair with Julian Reed, her $3 million offshore account, her chilling plan to flee to Barcelona with their daughters, Sophie and Ava. The betrayal was a raw wound, pulsing with every heartbeat. As he prepared to file for divorce and emergency custody, a late-night call shattered his focus, flipping his world upside down and forcing him to weigh justice against a flicker of unexpected compassion. It was Friday evening, Austin's downtown lights glinting through the home's tall windows. Sophie, 13, and Ava, 10, were still with David's brother Ethan in Houston, their absence making the house feel hollow. Natalie's voice from the PI's audio, David's got no clue, Julian? The girls come with us, replayed in his head, each word a fresh cut. His attorney, Rachel Torres, had texted earlier, Liam's report confirms fraud at Spark Vibe. DA's building a case, those Barbados transfers are dirty. Meet tomorrow to draft papers. David exhaled, envisioning full custody of his girls. But a gnawing fear lingered. What if Julian, Natalie's charming COO lover, was more dangerous than he seemed? David sipped cold coffee, his nerves frayed, when his phone rang. Claire, Natalie's sister, her voice shaking. David, it's Nat. She's in the ICU at St. David's. Car crash on Mopac, she swerved to avoid a deer. David's breath caught, anger clashing with shock. Is she alive? He asked, his voice tight. Barely, Claire said, voice breaking. She's in a coma on a ventilator. You should come. David grabbed his keys, his mind reeling. He loathed Natalie, her lies, her affair, her plan to steal Sophie and Ava, but death? He wasn't prepared for that. I'm coming, he said, rushing to his car. The drive to St. David's Medical Center was a blur, Austin's skyline fading under a moonless sky. The ICU's sterile hum jolted him as Claire met him in the hall, eyes red. She was driving back from Lake Travis, Claire whispered. Lost control at a curve. Doctors say it's bad, brain trauma. David nodded, throat tight, and followed a nurse to Natalie's room. Tubes snaked from her pale body, monitors beeping steadily. Her face, bruised and swollen, barely resembled the vibrant woman who deceived him so effortlessly. Dr. Nguyen, a composed neurosurgeon, approached. Mr. Harper, your wife's critical but stable. We're monitoring for brain swelling. Surgery may be needed. David stared at Natalie, her fragility disarming. Will she wake up? He asked, voice flat. Dr. Nguyen paused. We're hopeful, but it's too soon to say. She's lucky to be alive. David sank into a chair by her bed, torn between fury and pity. The woman who'd shattered his trust looked broken, mortal. Claire touched his arm. What now, David? He shook his head. I don't know. The divorce papers in his car felt heavy, but serving them now seemed cold. Yet her lies, Julian, the $3 million, the Barcelona tickets, demanded justice. He rummaged through Natalie's purse, left by the staff, and found a folded letter in her handwriting. Julian pushed the transfers. I thought it was legal. I'm so sorry, David. His pulse quickened. Was she manipulated, or was this another lie? He snapped a photo, texting it to Rachel, found this in Nat's purse. What's it mean? Rachel called immediately. This could shift things, David. If Julian coerced her, it may lighten her fraud charges. Liam's digging into Julian's past, he's got a history of financial scams. Don't confront her yet, even if she wakes. We need more. David exhaled. She's in a coma, Rachel. I was ready to file. Rachel paused. You can file, but serving papers now might hurt your case in court. Wait a few days, let her stabilize. Focus on Sophie and Ava. David's jaw tightened. They're my priority. He hung up, the letter burning in his mind. Natalie, a victim? It didn't erase her affair or her plan to take his girls. In the waiting room, David called Ethan. Nat's in a coma, he said quietly. Car crash. I'm torn. Ethan's voice softened. Damn, David, I'm sorry. The girls are okay, but Sophie's worried. She found Nat's old phone texts about Barcelona. She's scared Nat's leaving. David's heart sank. Sophie, so young, was carrying this burden. Tell her I'm on it, he said. I'll call soon. Ethan hesitated. Sophie wants to see her, David. She's angry, but Nat's her mom. David closed his eyes. I'll figure it out. He texted Sophie, Mom's hurt, sophomore. In the hospital. You don't have to see her, but I'm here. Her reply was quick. I'm pissed, Dad, but I don't want her to die. David's throat tightened. I know, kiddo. We'll get through this. Love you. Ava's silence worried him more. The quiet girl was retreating and he couldn't let her slip away. Back in Natalie's room, David sat, staring at her still form. He pulled out a notepad and wrote, Natalie, I know about Julian, the $3 million, your plan to take Sophie and Ava. You broke us. I'm filing for divorce and custody. Get well, but we're done. He folded it with copies of Liam's photos, Natalie and Julian at Lake Travis, kissing, and sealed it in an envelope. Handing it to Claire, he said, give her this if she wakes. Claire nodded, tears falling. I'm sorry, David. She screwed up. David's voice was steady. She did. But I'm protecting my girls. Driving home, David felt a strange calm. The letter wasn't revenge, it was truth. Natalie would face consequences, but he'd spared her a hospital confrontation. He called Ethan. I left a note for Nat. The girls need to know I'm fighting for them. Ethan's voice was firm. You're doing right, David. Sophie's reading, Ava's sketching. They're okay for now. David smiled faintly. Thanks, Ethan. Tell them I'll bring tacos tomorrow. At home, David's phone buzzed, a text from the lab, paternity results, Sophie and Ava are yours. Relief washed over him, though he'd never doubted it. Another text from Rachel, DA's freezing the $3 million. Spark vibes under investigation, Julian's the main target. Stay strong. David replied, thanks. Ready for court. He sat in the dark, coffee cold, replaying Natalie's audio. But her crash and that letter changed everything. Was she a pawn or a liar? His phone buzzed again. Claire, Nat's awake, David. She's weak, asking for you. She read your note. David's pulse spiked. The confrontation he'd delayed was here. What would Natalie say, faced with her lies? And how would Sophie and Ava heal? One thing was certain, justice was coming and David would fight for his girls, no matter the cost. David Harper stood outside Natalie's hospital room at St. David's Medical Center in Austin, his note exposing her affair with Julian Reed, the $3 million offshore account, and her plan to flee to Barcelona with their daughters, Sophie and Ava. Now in her trembling hands. She was awake, her lies laid bare, and the ICU's sterile air buzzed with tension. David, 37, braced himself to face her, determined to secure justice for Sophie, 13, and Ava, 10. But Natalie's tearful confession and a hidden journal found by Sophie would test his resolve, forcing him to balance justice with his daughter's fragile hope for healing. It was Saturday morning, the hospital's harsh lights casting stark shadows. Claire, Natalie's sister, met David in the hall, her face drawn. She read your note, Claire whispered. She's broken, David. Wants to see you. David nodded, his jaw tight. Sophie and Ava were still with his brother Ethan in Houston, their reactions to Natalie's car crash weighing heavily. Sophie had texted last night, I'm pissed, but I don't want her to die. Ava's silence gnawed him, her withdrawal a deeper wound. David's goal was clear, full custody, no compromises. But Natalie's letter, Julian pushed the transfers. I'm sorry, David stirred doubt. Was she a pawn, or was this another deception? Inside, Natalie lay frail, her face pale, eyes swollen from tears. Tubes snaked from her arms, monitors beeping softly. David, she croaked, voice weak. I'm so sorry. David stood rigid, arms crossed, his voice cold. Sorry doesn't fix this, Natalie. You cheated with Julian, hid $3 million, planned to take Sophie and Ava to Barcelona. 12 years I trusted you. Her sob broke the silence. I was drowning, David's spark vibe, the girls, us. Julian made me feel seen. The money was for security, but he twisted it. I didn't know it was illegal. Her voice cracked, but David's eyes stayed hard. Drowning, he said, voice sharp. You laughed about fooling me, Nat recorded it. You booked flights, leased a villa. That's not drowning, that's betrayal. He held up the envelope, her letter inside. You say Julian coerced you. Truth or another lie? Natalie flinched, tears falling. Truth. He set up the accounts, said it was legal. I was blind, David. I hate myself. Please, don't take the girls. David shook his head. You broke their trust, too. Sophie heard your calls, found your texts. Ava won't even say your name. I'm filing for full custody. Claire stepped forward, her hand on Natalie's shoulder. She's telling the truth about Julian, David. She's been a wreck since waking. David's gaze narrowed. She's a wreck because she's caught, Claire. Natalie nodded, defeated. I know I failed you all. I'll tell the DA everything. Julian steals the accounts. Just let me see the girls someday. David met her eyes, his voice steady but softer. That's their call, not mine. You face the consequences, divorce, fraud charges. I'm taking half the $3 million for Sophie and Ava's future. He left the room, his chest lighter but still heavy with purpose. Rachel Torres, his attorney, waited outside, her tablet glowing. How'd it go? She asked, eyes sharp. She admitted the affair, the money, the plan, David said. Says Julian coerced her. File the divorce today, Rachel. Emergency custody too. Rachel nodded, typing notes. Smart move. Liam's report buries Julian. He's been running scams for years, using SparkVibe as a front. DA's charging him with fraud. Natalie's cooperation might get her probation. With her confession, the USB, and those photos, custody's yours. The $3 million's frozen. We'll push for half for the girls. David exhaled, relief mixing with fatigue. Thank you, Rachel. Driving to Houston, David called Ethan. Nat's awake, confessed it all, he said. I'm filing. How are the girls? Ethan sighed. Sophie's been snooping, found a journal Nat left at our place. Says it's full of apologies. Ava's still quiet, sketching alone. They need you. David's heart twisted. Sophie's discovery stunned him. His daughter, torn between anger and curiosity, was braver than he'd expected. I'm almost there, he said, pulling into Ethan's driveway. Sophie and Ava ran out, hugging him tightly. Dad, Ava said, her voice small. Sophie's eyes searched his. Did you see Mom? Is she okay? David knelt, meeting their gazes. She's awake, girls. She's sorry, but she messed up big. I'm filing for divorce, you'll stay with me. You don't have to see her, but you can if you want. Sophie bit her lip. I found her journal. She wrote she's sorry, wants to fix things. I'm mad, but I don't know. Ava shrugged, eyes down. She lied. I'm good with you, Dad. David hugged them. Your choice, always. I've got you. At Ethan's, David sat with the girls, sharing tacos. Sophie showed him the journal, its pages filled with Natalie's regrets. I lost David and the girls to my stupidity. Julian lied. I'll make it right. Sophie looked at David. She sounds sad, Dad. Should I believe her? David squeezed her hand. Take your time, sophomore. You don't owe her yet. Ava stayed quiet, sketching a stormy sea. David's heart ached, his youngest was hurting, and time was the only cure. Rachel texted, divorce filed. Custody hearing Monday. DA's charging Julian, wire fraud, embezzlement. Nat's cooperating, likely probation. You're golden. David replied, thanks. Keep me posted. He looked at his daughters, their faces lit by Ethan's warm kitchen. Natalie's betrayal had fractured their world, but Sophie's journal find hinted at a crack in their pain. Ava's distance reminded him healing wasn't linear. That night, David tucked the girls into Ethan's guest room. Sophie whispered, thanks for fighting, Dad. Ava hugged him longer than usual. Love you, she mumbled. David kissed their foreheads. Always, girls. Love you. As he stepped out, his phone buzzed. Claire, Nat's asking about the girls. She's starting therapy, wants to change. David sighed, texting back, it's their decision. Long road ahead. He sat in Ethan's kitchen, coffee in hand, Natalie's confession settling. Justice was near, but Sophie's small step toward understanding raised a new question. Could his family find peace, or would Natalie's lies leave scars too deep to fade? David Harper had secured justice. Natalie's lies, her affair with Julian Reed, her $3 million embezzlement scheme, her plan to flee to Barcelona with their daughters, Sophie and Ava, had cost her their marriage, her startup, and her daughter's trust. With full custody of Sophie, 13, and Ava, 10, David rebuilt their Austin life, his determination unshaken. A year later, in May 2026, a warm Zilker morning hinted at hope in their vibrant home, while Natalie's redemption hung on choices only Sophie and Ava could make, and a new love offered David a brighter future. David, now 38, stood in their remodeled Zilker kitchen, tossing blueberry waffles for Sophie and Ava. Their laughter filled the air, a sharp contrast to last year's pain. Dad, don't burn them this time. Ava teased, flicking a straw at him. Sophie grinned, setting out syrup. He's useless without us, Ava. David laughed, his heart full. The divorce was finalized months ago with $1.5 million from Natalie's frozen account secured for the girls' futures. Natalie faced 3 years of probation for her fraud role, her startup, SparkVibe, shuttered, and Julian Reed jailed for 5 years on fraud and embezzlement charges. David's life, once fractured, was healing. At their Barton Hills Community Center, David found joy in routine, weekend brunches, debate club with Sophie, and art workshops with Ava. His brother, Ethan, visited often, beaming with pride. You're killing it, David, Ethan said, clapping his shoulder. The girls are shining. Sophie, now taller, practiced her debate speech nearby while Ava painted a mural. Ethan nudged him. You're glowing lately. What's up? David flushed, thinking of Emma, a 34-year-old Quantum Labs colleague. Her kind eyes and sharp wit had sparked something new over late-night code reviews and taco runs. Emma, a single mom to Mia, 9, had lost her partner in a car accident 3 years prior. Over coffee at a South Congress cafe, she'd opened up, her voice steady. Raising Mia alone's tough, she said, meeting David's gaze. But you make parenting 2 girls look natural. David shrugged. It's all for Sophie and Ava. They're my anchor. Emma's smile warmed him. They're lucky, David. You're a good man. Her hand grazed his, igniting a spark he hadn't felt since Natalie's betrayal. He confided in Rachel Torres, his attorney-turned-friend, over lunch. Emma's special, he admitted. But I'm nervous. Rachel grinned. You deserve happiness, David. Take it slow, but don't shy away. David took the leap, inviting Emma to dinner at a cozy East Austin eatery. Over enchiladas, she shared more. After losing Ryan, I thought love was off the table, she said softly. David nodded. Nat's lies broke me, but you feel safe. Their hands touched and Emma's laugh eased his nerves. Let's try this, she said. Sophie and Ava, overhearing David's plans, cheered. Go, Dad. Sophie high-fived Ava. She better like waffles, Ava added, giggling. Meanwhile, Natalie was rebuilding. Claire updated David. She's with me in San Antonio working as a bookkeeper. Therapy's helping, she's facing her mistakes. David sighed. And the girls? Claire paused. She asks about them constantly, hopes they'll forgive her. Sophie, curious, had been texting Natalie, sharing snippets, debate wins, school projects. She seems sorry, Sophie told David one night, hesitant. But I'm still hurt. Ava remained distant, her paintings moodier, her trust slower to mend. David hugged Sophie. Your call, sophomore. No rush. To Ava, he said, you're enough, kiddo. I'm here. In July, Sophie met Natalie for lunch at an Austin cafe with Claire present. It was awkward, Natalie tearful, Sophie reserved, but a start. She said she's changing, Sophie reported, shrugging. Maybe someday. David nodded, proud of her strength. Ava shook her head when asked. I'm happy with you, Dad, she said, hugging him tightly. David respected her pace, knowing trust took time. By summer, David and Emma were solid, their kids blending like a new family. Mia and Ava bonded over art while Sophie mentored Mia in debate. At a Zilka Park picnic, Emma laced her fingers with David's, Mia cheering. You're happier, Dad, Sophie said later, smiling. Emma's awesome. Ava nodded. Just don't ruin waffles again. David laughed, ruffling their hair. David called Claire, checking on Natalie. She's volunteering at a women's shelter, Claire said. Wants to see Ava, but knows it's Ava's choice. David softened. Tell her to keep going. The girls decide. Hanging up, he felt peace. Natalie's redemption was her path, his was here, with Sophie, Ava, and Emma. Rachel texted, DA closed the case. Julian's locked up. Nat's probation is strict, but she's compliant. You're clear. David exhaled, the weight of betrayal lifted. On a balmy August evening, David took Sophie, Ava, Mia, and Emma to Austin's Lady Bird Lake, the city sparkling under twilight. The girls raced ahead, laughing, while Emma squeezed David's hand. This feels like home, she whispered. David nodded, his heart full. Sophie's texts to Natalie grew warmer, a tentative bridge forming. Ava wasn't ready, but her paintings brightened, a sign of hope. As they watched bats swirl over the lake, David knew justice had won, not through vengeance, but through truth and love. Natalie's shadow faded, and David's future glowed, built on his girls' trust and a new beginning.